We're recording now.
Okay.
I'm letting you know.
Thanks.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to a very special episode of Server Restart In. It's your weekly World of Warcraft podcast with your three favorite opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim. I'm joined by Kristen.
Hello.
And Brian.
Hello.
And this is going to be coming out just 1 day shy of 2 years from when we started.
Holy cow.
Oh.
I thought when you started the way you were talking, you were gonna read the night before Christmas or something like that. Like that was the tone that it was like.
All right, children, gather around and listen to Jim
Yes.
and let me regale you with a story of ne'er-do-wells and daring deeds. And
The 2 years before.
it's been 2 long years since that
What a long 2 years, man. Holy cow.
since that fateful September day.
Where
Nope.
Jim went out into my driveway and played bagpipes for all of the neighborhood to hear at my brand new house.
Oh
That
yeah,
was right after I think we sealed the deal or something.
yeah. I think I was out in your neck of the woods playing for opening a charity golf tournament or whatever, and I swung by at your new house, played pipes for your kids, and we talked about getting this thing started, and we just haven't stopped. I think we've missed 2 weeks for the past 104, so it's not like we've been slacking. So I don't know.
It's worked out pretty well. Even through the which I guess most of it has been Shadowlands related.
Yes.
Except for the first couple months.
Well, the first couple months we were talking about, I guess,
Shadowlands, yeah.
about what we were expecting and stuff like that. Because the first episode. Oh yeah, the first episode was Enzoth, right? And so we were still at the end of BFA because we were killing N'Zoth and all that stuff. And
Enzoth.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Enzoth. I forgot. But yeah, so almost 2 years. Almost exactly
Crazy.
2 years. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Any day now we're gonna be millionaires. So
That's true.
any day. But what
It may be thousands of days away, but any day.
any day. I mean, anything's possible, right?
It's true.
Okay. So what better to discuss than the launch of the Wrath of the Lich King Classic pre-patch event. Currently, as of August 30th, you are able to go onto the Classic servers and participate in the pre-patch event, which includes, I believe, the Scourge invasions and whatnot. But you are also able to make a Death Knight. And somebody watches too much Monty Python. But
Maybe.
yeah. Your mother was a hamster. But
Your father smelled elderberries.
anyway, yeah, so the pre-patch stuff for Wrath Classic is out, and with that, Death Knights. So went out
And the game is officially in a much funner state, in my opinion.
oh my god. I went and made the same Death Knight I made initially. It's the same. I'm pretty sure it's every cosmetic option. It is exactly a 1-to-1 copy of my first Death Knight that led me down the road to having 24 Death Knights, which now I guess technically I have 25.
You've grown.
Actually I have 26, but
I mean, you can't use them all at the same time, so it's not technically an army, but you know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Don't be mean to me.
I'm sorry.
But it's interesting to see how it plays again, right? Because it's completely
How
different.
does it play? I'm curious.
Oh.
Like because you really haven't given up on Death Knights at all, have you?
No, it's crazy because I don't remember a lot of this stuff, but like I do, but I don't because it's so far gone. Like you had to apply diseases, right? And they were separate. So you have Plague Strike and Frost Strike, which Frost Strike is ranged, Plague Strike is melee, distance. You put that on, and then that allows other abilities to do things. Like Death Strike won't heal you unless they have diseases on them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then Pestilence spreads diseases. Blood Boil only works if they have diseases on them. All this crazy stuff. And it's just, it's like, okay, now I got to do dot management again. But it's still good. It's still a hero class. It's still overpowered. But, oh yeah, I mean, especially with like the lower levels. And I had to sit there and try and figure out how the hell I was going to get to the Blasted Lands from Orgrimmar.
Oh.
Because I had to remember how to do that. I'm like, okay, I got to take the Zeppelin to Stranglethorn. But where the fuck is the Zeppelin?
They introduced a portal at one point, but I don't know when that was.
That was way later. It might have been Cataclysm. But,
portal to Stonard.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not there. I had to fly to Stonard from Gromgul. But Deathgate doesn't bring you back to where you left from. It just takes you to Acheris.
Oh,
Yeah.
You had a gate back to where you gated from?
Now it used to be, or currently, you use the Death Gate, you go back to the Ebon Hold, do your stuff, cast it again, and it takes you nearby to where you left, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That was cool.
Back then, though, it just takes you
took
there. You open a second one.
Well, I remember it because I would use it to go to Undercity really quickly.
Yeah. You use it, it takes you there, and if you pop another Death Gate, it just keeps you there. You just get in a loop.
That's awesome.
No, it's not. I'm like, thank God I set my fucking Hearthstone.
No, fuck that. It's overpowered and current. There's no way. That's silly.
But,
well, that's what doesn't the monk do that too? Don't they go to their little place and come back?
Yeah, and I think that they made it like that in Mist when that happened. Because it was Mist. It was patch 5.4. I looked it up when they introduced that.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense.
But, so, with the launch of the pre-patch, which isn't actually Wrath stuff yet, there is some shop items for sale for the expansion. And I think
I don't know what you're talking about, Jim.
You don't know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about because you brought it up. So there's upgrades that you can buy for Wrath of the Lich King. And there's 2 of them, and they have different items. But only one of them has the mounts, which is annoying.
That is annoying, yeah.
But you get like a pet, you get a boost. If you boost the character, they get expert riding skill, and they get appropriate gear, amount, and starting gold. You get the Pebble the Penguin pet, and then you get the Fish Speaker's Lure, which is a toy that will summon a Tuskar fishing companion, which is just a Tuskar.
Which is kind of cool.
And he's a vendor. You can buy baubles and stuff like that if you're going to fish, so you can use him to go fishing. If you get the epic upgrade, you get 2 mounts. You get 1 for the classic, which is the Kaluak Whalebone Glider, and then you get 1 for retail, which is the Tuskar Shore Glider, which is pretty much the same thing, just kind of a little bit different. And then you get 30 days of game time. But how crazy is it that they can release an expansion that's 12 years old and then
I mean, they know how to, I'm sorry to say it, but they know how to milk their player base. Like, and I say milk. I don't really mean it in like a strong negative way, but like there's enough nostalgia with Wrath of Lich King that yeah, of course I was gonna buy an $80 fucking pack that is mostly useless other than foregoing my monthly subscription. So for 1 month.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, I mean it is nice to have a boost because again, like I'm never gonna play hardcore nowhere near like I did originally. So it's nice to have a character, at least it's ready to go. But I also did that for the BC one because I really thought I wanted to play BC and I actually didn't at all.
Yeah, I played it.
So
I played it. I enjoyed what little bit I did play. I like the older styles of the game. I like that BC, here's the quests, go out and figure out where the stuff is, read it and go do it. Because I wasn't using Questy. The only thing I think I used is I used the add-on control panel. I think I used Pawn, which I don't really need. I use Immersion for the questing, like the talking head, like pop-up questing instead of the quest box, and I use the Guild Wars 2 UI, which is kind of buggy, but I just like the look and feel of it. And it offers you some things, but like nothing like super major. But other than that, no. Like even with like Lich King, it's like I was talking with Kristen yesterday. I'm like, man, it's just like it doesn't tell me where anything is. There's no blue markers and all that stuff. But it's also the Death Knight starting area, which means I know it like the back of my fucking hand.
Yeah.
It's like I know where everything is.
Yeah.
I know. I just know everything, and it's just like I've done it. So
I just know everything.
I've done it at least.
fucking know it all.
Yeah. I mean, I know exactly where to go for every quest without like having to look at it. Like, that was just pick up and run. Now it's a little bit different in Hellfire Peninsula because I still remember a lot of the stuff, but I always find myself opening the map to look on the map to look for the fucking blue blob that's not there.
Yeah.
And it's just like retail's kind of conditioned people for that because now you don't have to read. So the game loses something, I think. I think it loses a lot of that depth. Like people...
Well, it really does. But even, like I think we talked about this recently, though. The super duper adventure in World of Warcraft was always like going out and figuring out how to make it through quests, right? Without dying and running around and all kinds of stuff because they...
Yeah.
But then again, like, as we discussed previously, how do you go back and capture that?
Well. Yeah. The problem is that they've shifted their focus from the journey to the end game. So now everybody just wants to get to max level to focus on raiding or PvP or whatever. They did it. They shifted their focus. And I mean, I don't know that they can unless they have another shift where they suddenly make everything else more fun.
I think they truly would have to change a lot to be able to capture that again.
Yeah.
And even just the way that they do quests or something, right? It may seem hard to consider, but maybe there is something there they could possibly redo to bring back that level of stuff. And the fact that like they can make an expansion like Legion, even after what do we have? Cataclysm was after the Lich King, Mist of Pandaria, then Warlords, right? So the fourth expansion after Lich King, and they can come back and make a fresh feeling experience again, and make things really fun. Means that they definitely can do it, right? Like, so maybe not always perfect, but.
So I think too, one of the hard things about that is we didn't have it before, but we now have data mining. And data mining, everybody's going to do the most efficient way to, they should make it so there isn't data mining.
This is an extension of our conversation from last week.
Yeah.
It kills the vibe, the expectation for the upcoming stuff, and, at least going into this Wrath stuff, right? It's like, yeah, I'm excited all of a sudden because, it's a Death Knight, and I know Death Knights, but I know what to expect in Wrath Classic. But that was really the expansion that I really cut my teeth on.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't have a max level character before. I started after the Sunwell came out. So, I mean, it was the very tail end of BC.
Remember leveling?
Yeah, I remember we leveled some stuff, and then I made you come to Horde, and then
Yeah.
we did a bunch of leveling, and I'm like, okay, well, I got to get one character to 55 so I can make a
Yep.
Death Knight. And so I got my lock to 55, and he
Yep.
stayed at 55 until the end of Lich King when they introduced the Dungeon Finder tool. And then I just spammed dungeons like crazy. It was fantastic. But, yeah, like, I don't know. It's just like you have this stuff coming out, and everybody knows what's going on. Nobody cares how we're gonna get there. There hasn't really been, like, really after Arthas. It's like, yeah, Deathwing was kind of a cool villain, but if you think about it, a lot of the lore behind Deathwing was in the books. Like they didn't really explore it too much in the game. Arthas. I guess you had to really play Warcraft 3 to know the Arthas stuff. But even then, it's just like he was all over the place in Northrend. He showed up.
And he was a core like RPG type of villain, if you will.
Yeah, he's like he's a Lich or a Lich King. You know what I mean? He's like the undead warrior type thing.
You would think that Deathwing would be too, but I don't know. The weird thing they do with like elemental stuff and then dragons, like, has never appealed to me from like the traditional Dungeons and Dragons type of thing. I've never really cared for it. Like, I'm not super keen on even like Dragonflight, right? Because even though dragons are badass, like, I don't feel like they are dragons in the same way they are outside of WoW. Yeah, and that's always like that's what like Cataclysm was kind of weird for me. Even though I enjoyed Cataclysm for the most part, but nowhere near the way that I did with the Lich King, just because it really felt like, God, everything just tied together so well. The environment, the music, the story, just generally I will say that I always thought that was where they brought Naxxramas up, and I always heard the excuse was because no one got to experience it, which I think is a really shitty excuse to bring something in. But nowadays, looking back on the lore, it makes a little bit more sense, like who he actually was. Kel'Thuzad, who he was compared to Arthas. So
yeah, I mean, it makes sense that you defeated him there, but he came back and took it, and it showed back up. I mean, I get that because it was pretty much gated content back then. It's like you had to really be on your fucking game and really hardcore.
Which I think
they
completely like fixed that problem for the most part. Even in BC, where you actually experience a little bit of the questing around the current content or something, because I think that was a major problem back then.
Well, they definitely do it in Lich King because you have the Storm Peak Mountains are all around Ulduar, and you have all of the Mechanome type, not Mechanome, but the fucking robots. I guess they're Mechanomes, but not Mechanomes. The mechanical gnomes, whatever the fuck they're called.
No, they're doors. They're not gnomes.
No, because there are the mechanical gnomes out there too. Because you fight one of them.
Okay.
Mimiron.
Or are you talking about Earth? There's the Earth and like dwarves or whatever.
Right. Those are
the ones that are before.
Stoneforged? No, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but there's also, I think, the other ones too because of Mimiron.
Oh, yeah, because there's some out there in Borean Tundra and everything.
Oh, those are actually Mechanomes. They're not from Mecha. I mean, I guess they are from Mechagon, but like they're splintered off or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's all kind of fucked up. But
yeah,
that's
funny.
I don't know. It was good, and I am really digging the pre-patch. Just playing a Death Knight in this context because it is completely different. you know, and it's just like, I don't know, I don't want to say it's reinvigorating, and it's not revitalizing, but it is a pleasant trip back down that rabbit hole, or back down, you know, to that nostalgia lane, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm enjoying it.
Well, I think the accessibility of the game, like the way it changes from BC to Lich King, like it's way more accessible to tons of people. So that right there, I think, was a huge win back then. But even now, like that's what makes it feel super nostalgic for me.
Oh yeah, it's very easy
like
to get
then,
into.
like I was just addicted to it. Now, the fact that I can pick it up and put it down is tremendous. I really enjoy the aspect.
Yeah, so it looks like Wrath stuff is actually going to drop on September 26th, is when that's actually going to come out at like 3 o'clock in Pacific, so like 5 fucking o'clock in the evening for us motherfuckers.
For what?
Lich King, the Lich King Classic, the actual Northrend stuff.
Oh, because right now it's just pre-patch?
It's just pre-patch. And I don't remember, could you make Death Knights in pre-patch?
I don't remember.
I actually don't remember either. I didn't think you could.
I don't think you could because we made ours. I remember because you were here and I was in Rhode Island and I was at the hotel.
Yep.
And I went to GameStop and purchased my copy and didn't even make it home. I was at the hotel, and that was what I did. Was I hung out at the hotel until like late in the morning, and we made our Death Knights.
Yeah, this is the only game I've ever gone to a midnight release for.
Yeah, me too.
And bought a physical.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I pre-ordered it at GameStop, and I went up there and I got it, and I came home and I started popping them CDs in.
Yeah.
Because
That's
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's how you had to fucking do it back in the day. You didn't have the BattleNet launcher and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's like you had to have physical media.
Yeah, that really. You had a launcher, but it was really rude looking.
It was like 90s looking almost, you know. It was like,
yeah.
or at least early 2000s, like the original stuff. But yeah, you didn't have like the nice launcher you have now. But yeah, and it's just like it changed. Like I was enjoying World of Warcraft, but this expansion really just fucking sucked me in. You know, that got its fucking hooks in me, and it's just like. I still enjoy it, you know, and it's just like I was going out because I remember the Zeppelins in Orgrimmar were outside of Orgrimmar. You had to go outside to the fields.
And it's the old Orgrimmar.
Yeah. You know, and so
which still trips me up every time I get ready to go into Orgrimmar and do something.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, I
got off by it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I got to go talk to Thrall, so it means I got to run all the way to the back of the city. And then I turn around and I'm like, oh, hey, it's Vol'jin. How you doing?
That was funny. That was very funny when he found Vol'jin.
You know, and he's just sitting there and it's great. And then, so I walk in from like the bank area out the main entrance to go to the things. I'm like, man, I would just remember just times of us just sitting in Orgrimmar, chatting and talking and stuff like that, like with our characters and stuff like that, just being there.
Yeah.
Like, granted, it wasn't as populated right now because nobody's in Orgrimmar because they're all out doing endgame stuff or leveling Death Knights or something like that. But like I really just like, you know, flashes of old stuff start coming in, and it's just like it hit hard, you know, and it's
in a good way though. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I don't have. I mean, okay, I have had bad experiences in the game with shitty guild leaders, with people being assholes about stuff, but I've never really I don't really have any bad memories of the game.
Oh,
like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, one of the, like, when like they were poaching people
He's
from
not
our
that
team.
bad, Jim. Gosh.
No.
But, you know, and it's just like, I don't have any bad memories of this game, of playing this game. You know, like nothing, I don't have anything that's so, like, I don't have any bad times in my life that are associated with this game.
Right.
You know, I didn't have anything like, because you know how sometimes people
Play the game to escape.
well, they play the game to escape, or like it caused a rift in like a relationship they had. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, oh, you play that game too much. But, you know, like that kind of shit happens. And, you know, one person plays, the other person doesn't. You know, so if I got lucky, Kristen played just as much as I did. You know, so.
And even if I'm not playing now just as much as you are, I'm still appreciative of the fact that it's your
that
game
I'm
time.
playing as much.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm not like, oh my God, why are you playing that game?
No,
you know?
I know. I mean, we don't
Like
have that
different
kind of
games.
issues, but it's like I don't have anything like that has happened. It didn't cause me to fail any of my classes because I was definitely in school then. I hadn't finished my undergrad at that point, and I was playing a lot, but I somehow managed to do that, work full time, and go to school. So, you know, I didn't have anything bad that way. So it's like I just don't have any bad memories of this game. You know, it's like, sure, there were some not as fun parts of the game. You know, some expansions weren't as good as other ones, but, you know.
Shadowlands.
I like Shadowlands. So
I know.
nothing was really WoD was kind of bad because it kind of just stopped.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like,
It's like they just gave up on it.
they just said, all right, well, we're just going to cut to the end and skip a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. But so we were talking about some of the accessibility stuff and just kind of how it's changed. I sent a link in our Discord for the
The UI stuff.
the UI revamp.
Yeah.
So pull that shit up.
I love it.
It looks
dude.
really good. Yeah.
So if you're not aware, that is the wrong thing. I lost it. No. I have to go click my own link. Where'd you go? So, yeah, they have 4. That is not what I wanted to click. Oh my God, I don't remember how to do things. So,
Oh my God, Becky.
for Wrath. No, for Dragonflight is what we're talking about. They have done a HUD and UI revamp. What they have done is they have kind of changed the way everything looks. They split out, you know, some of the bag stuff has changed. They changed the action bar things, but they've also allowed you to have the ability to either have separate or combined bags, which I think is really nice. It's nice to have, you know, some people like that aesthetic or that look. Now, it doesn't look like it's necessarily like you can control it per se, other than it just being combined. But what they have done is they had a lot of the UI elements now have widgets associated with them, so that you can change their position. Like the hotbars, you can change how many rows and how many slots across they are, so you can build your UI kind of the way you want it. You can move the map around finally. You can move all your target icons, and they give you a nice little grid so you can move all that stuff around, and I think it looks good. You can change your buff and debuff frames so you can make them bigger so they're easier to see. You know, and it just, they're going to be adding more, but it just looks like a nice change because not a lot of MMOs have that capability baked into the game.
Well, not to mention that, like, they are taking what the most popular things are of add-ons and the problems they're actually solving in doing that in their place, right? So, like, those people that have just had to continue to update, you know, and maintain those add-ons, I mean, whether they like it or not, I guess, they have the potential to, you know, move on essentially because some of that stuff is baked in. Like the bag add-on app is or add-on, Jesus, the bag, yeah, the bag add-ons,
the Bagnon.
Bagnon, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things like it just should have been in the game the whole time. To a certain extent, I suppose it makes more sense nowadays than back then. But yeah, the fact is like it is like a common problem playing the game, in my opinion, and for them to actually recognize that and pull it in, and then hopefully maybe they give back by just improving like their developer experience, so those add-ons can still have value, maybe in an easier way. But generally, if they don't have to support those, right, and most of those folks are probably not getting paid to support those things, despite the millions of people that use them, it'd be a good change, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think it's a good change. I think that it's going to. I might actually play with the default UI for a while, at least to see what it's like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
just because,
would much prefer going back to that, honestly.
I mean, I do like the Guild Wars 2 UI add-on that I use, but I just like the look of that in general. But, you know, if it gives me the options for some of this stuff, like if the add-on frame or if the action bar frames, you know, if you can have them so they're not visible out of combat, but I don't think that that's actually in there. But oh, maybe it is. There's a setting thing. I don't know. They don't go into it that much. But I mean, it's a start. And it's nice to see some of these types of updates to the game, meaning that it's not just straight content, you know. And this is a prime example of a change that I'm okay with them releasing and beta testing and stuff like that because it doesn't affect the story per se. I can't imagine it would affect the story. There's probably no quest around learning how to do your UI.
There's a quest about
you need hilarious. The quest is you have to
that's what they would do though, right?
That would be fucking hilarious if they had a
no, they'll gate it to like level 70
oh god, you can only remove you can only
have
move
to pay
one
for it. You gotta pay for it in the store.
No.
Oh, what a terrifying thought.
Yeah. Well, you can have the ability to move your mini map. That'll be $5. You want to move your action bars? Another $5. Yeah.
Oh no, they introduced their own currency for me. Moving your UI around.
Every time you move it, it's like fucking changing your talents. It used to be you had to pay money or like your appearance. Yeah. It's like going to the barber shop, but for your UI. Yeah, I need to race change my UI.
Oh man, terrifying, Jim.
Oh, they took away the fee to character change and stuff. So, that's another thing I noticed. So in going forward, and I don't think this is in retail yet, but you know there was that whole thing where they're changing. Like you're not making a male or a female character anymore. You're making a body type 1 or a body type 2. They genericize the names. That's in the Wrath, the Lich King stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't notice that. I don't think it's in retail yet, but so that was.
It's funny because I think someone on Reddit already identified that the female Tauren still says female.
No, that's fine.
I could say heifer, I guess.
I wouldn't be wrong. Steer and heifer. They should have them for. They should have.
That's true. Yeah.
Racial terms for all of those. I don't know what.
It's only respectable, right?
I don't know. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's been 2 years and we're still talking. I don't know how. How's that possible? I don't know. They're adding some new community events. Cymox Charity Cash and a solo shuffle showdown.
Shuffle showdown.
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like the MDI, but it's guilds can. Okay, so the charity cash is like the gauntlet. You have to defeat select bosses as quickly as possible to earn their charity share. Okay, so you're competing to earn money for a charity, and there's $100,000 pool, and the raids, or I guess the guilds that are participating, declare a charity, and for each boss they down the fastest, a portion of that money goes to their charity. I don't know if it's, what are they fighting? Let's see, are they doing? Oh, okay. It's Castle Nathria and Sepulchre are the first ones. And it's on September 10th and 11th. So they must be having some sort of like instance version of it because it's fated raids. And it's not the normal fated powers. They'll have at least 2 active on the bosses. And it looks like it's just Echo and Team Liquid that are doing this one. So I guess it's just not something for us normies to participate in, but just to watch. So, checkpoints to reach, blah, 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 which that's fine. Let's see, Solo Shuffle is getting a ranked mode in Dragonflight. They're doing a competitive thing to Invitational.
What's Solo Shuffle?
That is the PvP. It's a 3v3 arena match that goes through a pairing so that you are partnered with everybody. So you...
Oh, yeah, you take turns partnering with the whole group you're fighting.
You do a round, and then it mixes the teams up so that every combination happens. And based on the number of wins you have, you get honor and points based on that.
Well, that's interesting. So you have different people as your teammates.
Yeah, so it picks 6 and then assigns them to teams. And it shuffles them, then it shuffles them, then it shuffles them, then it shuffles them, and it does 6 rounds. And I'm pretty sure we talked about this before it came out, and I'm pretty sure like if somebody quits beforehand, so it does it like it gives them like 2 losses, and I think it gives everybody else like 2 wins or something like that. So like they got protection for people trying to troll on that. But
Right.
I haven't tried it yet, but I don't really PvP that much. Only because I have been working on that goddamn achievement. It's going fairly well.
What achievement?
The great, or Back from the Beyond. Yeah, it's the meta achievement where you can, you have to do all these other achievements, and then you get like that title, the Veil Strider. It's all you get's a fucking title. It's a lot of work to do it, but
It's a lot of work.
It is, but it'll be gone after season 4 is done. So you have to do all the raids like on normal, which are already done. You have to get all the covenants up to whatever. You have to do a bunch of different achievements in the other one. Like I still have to get like 4 or 5 different guests to come to my Ember Court for Revendreth. I have to...
Oh, I remember you talking about this last week.
Yeah, I got somebody doing the mushroom dailies for that reputation for the Night Fae. I got all the hunts in the Beastborn done. I got all the rares done. We got to go do... I got all the stuff to go do Tashavezr on hard mode, which will get us a mount, the disc mount. So
everybody?
I believe everybody gets the credit for it. Because we can go in, activate hard mode, and then skip to the last 3 bosses. Because you only have to do the last boss with this effect. So, but it's one of those, and you can do it on Mythic 0. So, I think you have to do it on Mythic 0. So, that should be easy enough to do. I went in and soloed the first boss so I could get in far enough to buy the thing and then get all the way out to the
You soloed the first boss?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Which was a pain in the ass because he does that. He puts you in jail and can't break out of it. So I had to save cooldowns I had to use anti-magic shell to prevent it. I could use ice block to get out of it, and that gave me enough time to use anti-magic shell again. And then I had to save my one trinket to get out of it the last time before I killed him. He killed me the first time because I didn't have enough stuff to get out of it. But then you go all the way to the whatever the boss is where you play the band, whatever that fucking thing is called. You go in there and take a necklace that you bought from somebody else, and he goes, "That's a shit one. Here, take this one." And turns you into a broker and activates hard mode. So,
cool.
Gotta do that. Gotta do quests for the Gotta have specific quests to get achievements for the Maw invasions. But other than that, it's pretty much wrapped up. You know, as long as there's enough time, I can get it done. But I don't know. It's been something to do, but now Wrath has been taken over. So,
are you surprised about your interest in Wrath?
I don't know if it's an interest in Wrath so much as it is an interest in leveling a Death Knight. Well, leveling a... Okay, I don't mean just leveling a Death Knight. I mean leveling like an OG Death Knight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not... It does not play the same. That
is interesting after all the work you've done to level those Death Knights. Yeah, that experience is very unique.
It's really cool. And it's just like... Well, and I leveled a lot of them in Shadowlands. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that's when I made them all. You know, it's just like... So... It's with the current abilities. It's like you go back to OG stuff. You have 6 runes. You have 2 blood, 2 frost, 2 unholy, and spells cost different different variations of it. So you
used to be able to convert them, didn't you? The old ones.
There was a way that you could convert some to shadow runes that could then be used for any. They were like wild card runes. And I think that those are either a talent that you can get or something that you can spec into for certain abilities to do that. And it might be on the unholy tree, if I'm remembering correct, because that sounds like an unholy thing. Because for right now, it's just like, I'm mainly running blood talents because that's like supposedly the best leveling one, because you can get some pretty strong stuff like that.
Yeah. Wasn't that the survival one at that point? Like your high DPS,
high survivability. It's like you're unkillable. Like blood DPS. Once you're geared, blood DPS is stupid good. But there was a gear threshold. There was stat threshold. God damn it! I forgot. You need hit.
Yeah.
Just back in the
armor
day
ignore.
Hit.
Do you remember armor ignore?
Crit if you don't hit.
I don't remember armor ignore because I don't know if it was a big
warriors had to stack armor ignore.
I remember if you tank as a Death Knight, you have to stack parry because they don't have a shield. They don't have block. Block means jack shit for a Death Knight tanking. But if you dual wield tanked and had a bunch of parry, you kicked ass. So I remember that, but I was definitely not as knowledgeable about Death Knights and like how they operate as I am now back then. I played it all the time and I played it the way I liked it, and I would, occasionally go out and look for builds and stuff like that, but for the most part I just kind of picked talents based on what they did. I wasn't necessarily min-maxing or anything like that, and we weren't really getting like the highest gear and like the right kind of gear and all that stuff. But I am gonna have to go get if I can get leveled up pretty decent, I'm going to have to go level up mining and blacksmithing so I can make shit for myself. Because I know that, unlike now, I have to go start at the very beginning of all those and level them up that way.
Not to mention that if you want to do anything in the end, you'll have to get together and run dungeons with folks. So,
and
it was just like that, I guess, in the beginning of Lich King, but still, which I don't know if you looked at the LFG tool.
It's just looking for group tool. I remember that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the this is the one they revamped, but it's just like the retail version more so than anything. So I think they used to have the raid browser and stuff like that once upon a time, but I don't recall what it looked like all the way back then.
Yeah.
Shit that I never used. Just get into LFG and try to find a group or in town. This one though, actually, like it has more of that LFG tool in retail feeling. So it's actually not too shabby. It's nowhere near like automatic grouping, right?
Yeah.
I think teleporting is bullshit, but the automatic grouping part's not there, which is totally fine. So
Yeah, I'll work at it. I don't do a lot of group content when I level, unless it's like for like a quest. I don't level in dungeons, even though they're pretty good, I guess, in certain things. But I don't know. I don't know how long I'm gonna play. But
yeah,
it's just interesting to see, again, just to experience the old school stuff, and that's just kind of what I'm in for. It's just kind of like to kind of relive how DKs were, and it's just like, remember, my roots, go back to my roots, remember where I came from, that kind of stuff,
Remember the Sunwell.
Yeah, I don't, because I didn't do it.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. Thanks everybody for listening and checking us out. It's been a fun 2 years. Hopefully we can have this conversation again in another year, I guess. You can check us out at facebook.com/server restart in. Choose a tweet at server_restart, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
bye.